a sudden there's like mad action at the supernova kind of in the zone there. So yeah, no sense of sticking around for too much longer. He's trying to devolve quickly here on the feed as you watch Batman Joe and crew jump in, taking out Fade's trio here. The southernmost portion of the map here to kind of round out zone 4.
Just tough couple eliminations there. Game 4, 2 games left. This one, whatever's kind of remaining, and then one more to kind of close out the day. So I feel like a good portion of the teams, you know, if they find themselves falling short of that victory royale, you kind of see the proactivity in terms of aggression. They're just trying to close that point gap as much as possible to give themselves a final fighting chance if nothing goes right here. Revive comes in, Nerve Face fresh off the reboot. Well, still meets the same demise. He's going to get dropped down low. He can't even go down there without getting eliminated altogether, but that's exactly what's going to happen either way. But it's just so Zemo can get the reboot card yet again. A perfect play. If you're going to go down either way, Monster, at least make it easier on your teammates.
Yeah, you saw Batman Joe thought about it, second guessed himself. Yeah, I'm not jumping down there. You know, you could have that siphon loot. It ain't worth that much to me. Kind of calls it a day there. You know, it's the little things that definitely, you know, allow you to kind of go further in this game.
Bryce, Dash, and Skittles, just judging by the loadout, they have that mythic DMR. Well, Skittles is still back on the island, so you got to have the medallion as well. And they have good position over control of the Foxy Floodgates Mountains for Skittles. He's just trying to use that misform so that way he does not take that wind tunnel down. Because if he did, it would just kind of leave him susceptible to taking a ton of damage from the players in the surrounding lobby. He's just trying to recharge, reunite with the rest of his team. Trying to see who is out. Oh, exactly what I said, Monster. Just wait. Whoever's going to be coming out of zone, well, we got your number. And that's Carbone, kind of meets his demise. But it's just a down, so his teammates have a chance to get him back.
Take a look at Cease here. After losing Nerf Face, and then Zemo. He's in a one-on-one up against Listen right now on the other side of the wall. Messmas is obviously resetting this entire fight here. Oh, and the big pot comes through. So advantage is going to go to Listen here. Great pre-fire there, straight onto Cease. Cease has to hold that one right now and force the back off here.
This is essentially both of these players, both Cease and Listen, as solos. Last chance really to kind of leave it up to consistency. You go down here, you might just be too far where you might need a win either way to catch up in terms of those points. But Cease just left down to bandages every 3 seconds, 15 HP. Listen going through the same thing on the other side. Now Listen is fresh out, so he's officially going to be put on the clock. But instead of going through that tunnel dangerously in towards Cease, he just tried to reposition, go elsewhere, but I might have been wrong. He turns around, he's out of bandages, so he needs this siphon if he's looking to stay alive. It's all or nothing for Listen.
Yeah, good read by Cease, but Cease is definitely weaker here, but Listen's got that pressure on his back right now. 2-tick really starting to add up here. Cease gets the first bandage off. Here comes the siphon opportunity. You got to hit this once he comes out of misform or it's game. He blocks him, and the edit very cleanly done by Cease. Then just sits there and catches the loot. He won't be rewarded with any extra heals, but the storm sickness, are you kidding?
No.
He was in there the whole time.
How long? That's 500 damage of storm that Cease took in the early game with the rest of his team to go down to storm sickness. Now both him and Listen gonna leave it up to a last game miracle to try to qualify for the grand finals. Otherwise, they're gonna be stuck in LCQ, so don't be afraid just yet. The season won't be over. It just got that much harder.
That's crazy. I think that's the first for broadcast. If you watch a fight go the distance this kind of early, you want to call this mid game early enough, but the full storm sickness after a clutch.
Seek Donnie Joji, 133. Well on pace. Can, in theory, get enough points without a win to qualify through consistency, or at least put themselves that far into the bubble. No placement points just yet. Top 18. One team needs to go down. Then they'll start to cascade in with every team that does fall. Half of the Monster usually set in around the top 8. So that should be the focal point, or at least the goal for a good chunk of these teams here today.
Yeah, that's the thing. Remember, King's team is down this game, so obviously they can't secure a victory royale. They've surely got one of the top 5 positions. If Clix's team doesn't take a win at some point or another, these other teams are going to really come down to a limited amount of slots, if you will. So it'll be pretty contentious for the last few remaining spots if, of course, our first and second most consistent teams don't take a win here soon. But the way Yamzo, Higgs, and Clix are playing right now, and with the lack of King in this game, I think they might have this one in the bag.
So he got 4th in game 1. He's 4th on the leaderboard. Can he win game 4? How much of number 4 is Clix's kind of magic number or kind of forceful number, you know, so to say? But Tony, noisy. They lost Creon not too long ago. 93 points though here, Monster. They really got to start to make this one count. It's not too far of a rotation, but you can already see in the minimap how many other teams are already beating them to the punch.
Yeah, a lot of teams got to move. I'm looking at that Western kind of pack right there. See most already poised up for the quick rotate. Bryson Dash Skittles looking good here to kind of get to the front side first. Who's on height? Oh, it's Shadow, Muzz, Sphinx on high ground right now from contested surprise to height now.
Really talking about making games count. They started this one with 48 points in 18th place, Monster. Almost 100 points down from that bubble of where they need to go. So high ground without a couple of those teams going to contest you in this lobby. This one might be the one that they make count. Bryce Dash Skittles, they see teams right across, and they're just trying to claim space. Look how much space they've given themselves down low on the low ground. Even a tunnel on top of that one. 2 teams already setting their eyes up above. Dejan, Slate, and Jerry. They're the ones that have their heads in the clouds, though.
Yeah, Muzz's team playing second height right now. Meanwhile, Monty, Paul and Scuffy, so from back and forth. Some games they kind of fell a little short. Other games they went the distance here. They find themselves in an end game sprint once again. First for Noah plays as well there. You saw with Chaos Gaming just kind of holding on here, getting pressured by the lobby. But look at this high ground hold by Degen and Jerry. They kind of got this far positioning, full control of the sky here and now. It's kind of like an eerie silence for an end game as well. Notice how much this means really to the teams in the game, right? Everyone's kind of vibing out, chilling, like, nah, wait, I need these placement points here. So very interesting kind of dynamic taking form here in game 4.
Yeah, you can see Clix. I think he has that exotic pistol. Just trying to look above. If you kind of tag those teams on the high ground, you kind of send them flying with that shockwave effect in the first and in the last bullet. Degen kind of reconnecting their position up above. There we go. Degen, no! It had to be him. They found him. They take him off of high ground. Now he has to find his way back while that one's getting distracted. Bryce Dash and Skittles did not lose focus of what they need, and that's the front side of zone, expending so many of their materials to try to make a safe spot happen, but they quickly become a sport focus. That's a lot that they're burning through just to maintain their position here safely.
That's what happens. You start inching your way up. That high ground team starts to look. Muzz's team, though, turns and burns and catches Degen and Slate with some monster tags here, but Jerry holds his own for just long enough to go in and buy them some time to go ahead and kind of recover, but seems like they're running out of material here as the lobby has not really been forgiving to them. There it is. Front side. Sphinx takes it. Muzz kind of cranks his way on up, and all of a sudden they are in control, but Sphinx gets sent out through the sidelines there. Meanwhile, Higgs, Clix, and Yamzo crumbling down low. Degen is going to fall to Higgs here. It's all up to him. Clix has got a slither of HP. Down goes Higgs. What just happened there?
Oh no. Everybody's feeling that same struggle. Even Sphinx is down. They're going for the triple reboot as Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs fully eliminated out of game 4. Maybe it's not his lucky number anymore, but up above, they got the revive. Sphinx is back into the game. Shadow as well. They have the Superman strike from above, causing destruction, lasering through these builds, finding knocks, eliminations when it matters most. Looks behind. Rehan tries to go for a sneaky play, but nah, not today. Denied that opportunity once, but he has team team. Backup is there. It does look like they're trying to concede it. Give it up for now. 10 HP on the Shadow. They cannot hold on to what was theirs.
Just a little bit more laser left in the tank here for Muzz, but Muzz is gonna have to give it up. Shadow's got no HP. Osu, well played for them to actually secure this high ground. And you know what? They are racking up eliminations as well. They're looking to put a stamp on it. They need the win just as much as anyone else. And we thought Muzz's team might have gotten a free ride to the end game, but no, not today. They're gonna have to fight for it. Muzz's entire crew falls there to the hands of Bryce Dash and Skittles, who have just played a little more consistently from the low ground now. Here comes the decision to go for the heal off, kind of dips back for Bryce. He sends his other two out to the front side. Meanwhile, a new team is now taking height here, Jacob.
Yeah, letting Skittles kind of clear the path. Donnie, Seek doing the same thing, but they got it intact in the front side of the zone. Seek just going around towards the outside. He has very, very minimal builds, and it's getting burned through by the high ground. Now they're stuck down below, but they find a clear-cut elimination onto Scuffy's, one that's absolutely necessary. Now they have the Siphon Mats and at least something to work with, but no, he dropped his shotgun monster.
That was a huge mistake there, but look at this. Donnie's still going. It doesn't matter. Seek and Donnie are still turning online now, and there is still that trio way up top. Can they mitigate this fall damage that's going to come here? The chop comes through. Sleepsy falls. He gets the dash off there. Front side takes a little bit of damage. Misform from Rebel. Seek down low. Tries to buy himself some time. Swings around the top side. But Batman Joe has to get the shot there. He finds one. Boxes him up. Cones up. Donnie slips out. Just so smoothly played there. But Zach was there to meet him up top. And just like that, they will be seeing themselves a grand finals there. What a game for Jacob.
Yeah, Slepsies, Batman Joe, and Zach found themselves starting in 9th place on the leaderboard coming into this game with 97 points. They were consistent with 2 games, 5th and 6th place, but now they have capped it off with a big win here and clutched up one of those spots to the grand finals.
Very nicely done. And, you know, you couldn't have really called who was gonna win that game. It was so crazy in the end there. I know everyone was just kind of rooting for Muzz for a moment, but all of a sudden there were other teams that were super hungry to kind of turn online, and this is what we've been waiting for from this group this entire time. Who was going to fight for height and actually take this victory royale? Clearly this is the fast track to the finals. From Zach's perspective, it looked pretty chill as he had you know, enough time to kind of pick up his siphon there and fight his way back in. Donnie just had no idea where to turn at that point. What a game for Sleepsy, Zach, and Batman Joe. Congratulations there, match number 4. Zeke, what else do you got for us now?
Bro, this is exciting, right? That game is, I feel like these games have gotten more and more chaotic as we've gone on, which feels like it shouldn't be the case, right? Because whenever a trio gets VR, like that's one less trio in the lobby, and yet they are still more and more chaotic, Kelly. But still, for the trio, they're going to grand finals, right? Again, they wipe their hands. They say, hey, look, with a single game left to go, we got it. We're making it through. And I love that Jacob kind of pointed out their placement coming into this, because their game 2 at 28th place with no elims, really tough, right? And then you kind of go like, all right, our backs are kind of slowly getting pushed against the wall now. We really need to make something happen. And game 4 to do it before it's all over, Kelly, I'm good. You know, I'm good with that. That's fine.
I mean, you talk about placements within this game in group number 2, but for me, I'm looking at placements as a whole. They were one of the last teams to qualify through the play-ins. And in fact, only Zach has one FNCS finals appearance. So Slep and Batman Joe, incredibly green players, to see them all come together now and be able to not just enter into the group stages, but to get a win off of some really big names. Vivid, that is how you want to start your FNCS journey.
Yeah, I mean, incredible stuff. Incredible way to go ahead and make it into your first FNCS finals. And I love the fact that Kelly pointed out, yeah, taking down big names in the mix there as well. One of the key moments of the game, obviously, them taking the higher ground for Muzz's trio right there. Incredible work for them. I thought Muzz had that game in the bag as soon as he finally came out of the scuffle that ended up happening on the higher ground when DJ kind of fell off of it. But yeah, incredible pickup from this trio right there. And then even in the end, right, beating up on Donnie at the end there. Good work from this trio.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Once again, grand finals is their next stop for us. Our next stop is a short break. When we return, though, the last game out of group number 2. We need to win and we're in, or we need to end in the top 5 in consistency. So stay tuned. You won't want to miss the last game.
Square dance on the floor. This is not a ball. I'm above it all. Start, I see my glow up. Where you supposed to go? Proceed on the low. Can't lose and find the go. Leave me in the zone. I take your mind and then I snatch your soul. Turn up the track, going deep. I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go. Harder than hard to go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Run up and see the glow. I'm gonna make it known. I get it. They love my whole steady. Fake off, so listen. Told you this ain't hypothetical. Answer the call. Prove this once and for all. Can't reach me with an arrow. Summer nights I never fall. No cattle. The goat don't wear a saddle. Go riders off my body. Cut them off. They acting sloppy. Already I consume the petty. The vision's 2020. Believe your eyes are winning. Turn up the track, going deep, I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go, harder than hard to go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known. It's a rap, got the match built like a pro. You know the legends go, harder than adios. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known. The track going deep, I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go, harder than hard to go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known.
So the trios in this lobby, they only have one thing on the mind, and that is to go harder than harder go. Welcome back to the FNCS. We are here with a single game left to go. It's a win and you're in. Get a VR straight to grand finals or end in the top 5 in consistency, which is basically like the top 10 when we're looking at the standings, but we'll spell it all out for you when the time comes. Guys, a single game left to go. We wanted to talk about Donnie and company. These guys are putting on quite the show. Seek Joji, they're kind of going crazy. 205 points, which to me feels like a really great place to be going into that last game. As long as we don't make any mistakes, right, Kelly? As long as everything's cool, everything's chill, we just keep doing our consistent thing, we should be in.
Yeah, as far as mistakes go, I haven't seen too many come out of this trio right now. They are playing the low ground so well. There was a moment there where they're kind of playing the low, sticking to the front side, and they were ping-ponging back and forth between storm and zone, making sure that they are taking as little damage from players and kind of foregoing, instead going towards the storm damage instead. And that allowed them to be able to survive this low ground for so long with practically 0 mats, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, incredible stuff for them. I feel like every single time we kind of tune into an end game, it feels like Donnie's like that solo that's just left alive, trying to pull up some incredible clutch like every single time. And for every single time, it kind of looks possible, right? He's really doing his best, putting up a fight in every single scenario right there. So incredible stuff out of him, and all of his efforts, and of course his trios as well, are going to be putting them in 3rd place on that consistency leaderboard. So they should be sitting pretty comfortable, I would imagine, at 205 points going into the last game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we only had one kind of questionable game, right, which was their first game. They came in 14th place, no eliminations. But, you know, again, I'm kind of curious to see, because you kind of mentioned the fact that Donnie's left alone. We've seen them a couple times now being like a duo situation, and then, yeah, it kind of goes down to Donnie. So I would love to kind of see them, like, sure up whatever that is going into grand finals, right? Because, look, we're playing for a global championship spot, right? Like, we got to make sure we are playing at our absolute peak going into the last game. Now, of course, as we look, 124 points is 11th place. So that, think about that as like 6th place, okay? Think about basically if we end in the top 10, that's our top 5. So the difference between 10 and 11th right now is only 2 points. And then from 10th up to 9th, obviously the 161 to 126. So it's gonna come down to the wire here for a lot of these trios.
Yeah, especially with how top heavy the top of our placement leaderboard is, you know, from Clix's trio in 5th going down to even Skittles trio down in 8th place. They have such a bigger jump than what we see Noisy, Creon, and Tony in. Honestly, there are so many trios that could easily take away the 10th place spot. But I think as far as looking at Skittles, Dash, and Bryce right now, they are sitting relatively confidently in our 8th place for the leaderboard. And as far as they're playing on the low ground, this is, you know, something that we kind of expect to see out of them. Bryce is an incredible player. I've been watching him for so long, especially back when it was Bryce and Bolts, and I kind of like to see that Bryce is locked back in, and we're starting to see that now in these games over the last few weeks. They haven't been exactly where they want to be, but I think that they're starting to kind of heat things up. But is it too little too late, Vivid?
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be sitting pretty comfortable as well. We've talked about a couple of trios that are kind of doing well on that leaderboard. Now it's time to talk about a trio that I think a lot of us would have expected to be doing a little bit better right now, right? Muzz's trio right now kind of struggling, not even in that top 10 right there. So they're going to need an incredible last game, whether that be just, you know, second place, a lot of eliminations, or of course that guaranteed win qualification going into the grand finals. But with that being said, there's going to be a lot of other teams also kind of looking towards that win, right? Anybody kind of lower towards the, you know, the back end of that leaderboard.
I mean, yeah, Muzz right now is tied up with Noah W Plays for 102 points right now, which is well within reach of being able to break into that top 10. But there's just only so many trios that can make it into the grand final. Zeke, at some point, we have to cut it off.
Yeah, that is tough. But just think, right? If someone in that top, like, 10 gets a VR, then the whole lobby is going to go up a placement, right? So the game's not done. For Muzz and company, we come in right now, we just have a really stellar game. We could look to potentially make that top 5, but anything goes. One game left to go. How does it all end? Let's find out. Casters, over to you.
I don't want this to end. Let's just do another 5 games, but it is here, Monster, the last game of the day. And honestly, the implications of what could go down, going down early, getting a few more eliminations, winning the game could just change up so much.
Yeah, well, luck for us. Tomorrow we got Group 3, so it's not over this weekend just yet. But yeah, you know what? The biggest difference is going to come down to this last game, so let's jump on the battle bus. Group 2, Game 5 is about to conclude. Here we go. We're kicking things off now, Jacob. And, you know, I was starting to think about the point threshold. Essentially, you're hoping a team in that top, like, you know, the 200-point threshold range, one of those guys win a game. Because otherwise, it is looking like a mile and a half between 190 and everyone else down below. So, realistically, at this point, I think those top positions are pretty secured, and you might be fighting for 2 spots.
And I see it right now. I see one of the best drop spots on the map. Formerly a Batman Joe, Zax, and Slepsy. Brutal boxcars, uncontested. I was thinking, who might move over there? There's so many still contested fights going on, and now one of the best spots opened up, and nobody's gonna take it. And with everything on the line right here, Jake, Doggo, Oakrun, they have to come out on top in this if they want to keep their FNCS alive here this weekend.
Oh, that's one down already. Jake falling to the hands of PhD. He got the shotgun first, put some significant damage down. Phaser hunts down Oakrun on the backside of the zone there as well. And all of a sudden, Lone Wolf player looking to get cleaned up pretty quickly here. King's got the last player. I thought he had in his sights, but it seems like they just lost him for a second there. Look at that. They're back like they never left. And you know what? That's going to be a huge upset for everyone else in the lobby. We just talked about how much of a difference maker they were when PhD, King, and Phaser in the lobby. Those end games looked way more contested, if you will, because they're a team they don't stop the action, right, on all the layers. They clearly know how to handle themselves. So this is going to be a very good game now, given that they're going to be in the lobby.
Yeah, this is almost like a blessing and a curse for the lobby because they're already inside of that bubble, 200 plus points already. So all they have to do is win, which frees up a spot at the bottom of the leaderboard. Easier said than done, though, because every team that they take down is a dream that they're crushing and forcing another set of players into that last chance qualifier. Well, only 3, Monster. Only 3 will make it out and advance to the grand finals.
Yeah, I was just looking at the map trying to see if Clicks and crew were going to make that fast dash south, but it seems like they're kind of going back to the old trusty loot their drop strategy. Meanwhile, Kay's son kind of taking the fight here. They end this one pretty quickly. Fade, Tofi, and Ult kind of jumped in here as well. So Demon's Domain having a lot of action right now come the last game. So seems like everyone's got the gloves off here. Alexson and Kay's getting their first set of Elim points here in quite a few rounds.
Ooh, nice, because Tofi hit a nice shot underneath. He takes on a good amount of damage from the second one as well, if they can somehow close out this 2v2, but Suns is there. That's the 3rd member of this trio closing in on this distance and giving them a huge numbers advantage in this fight. Couple Sentinel pumps going down, passing around the Chug as well. There's big pots, so that early game damage that they just got, Monster out the window, no longer in existence.
Yeah, I was gonna say the ambush was their best bet there, kind of evening things up a little bit, kind of slowing one out the fight. But yeah, Alex Tung's team might just respect it and put it all on the line for the dub now. Now, I gotta say, seeing that Super Sprite make it to the end game last game was definitely exciting in the hands of Muzz from the high ground. Super destructive, but it's one of those things like, how do you justify carrying that over missed forms or dashes? You kind of can't, right? You want the mobility in most cases, but that high ground with that laser is pretty strong.
Shreds through builds. It makes it that much easier for the Spire and the Fury to break its way through. It was Void. Cash percent just trying to disengage altogether towards the outside. Shiny Shafts. I kind of spoke about this earlier. One of the teams, Golden, Mason, and Chimp, qualifying from this spot on the map. It did free it up, but it was only for so long before more and more teams took notice and kind of took that position away. And it almost makes me kind of wonder, is anybody going to be brave enough to go over to Brutal, or is Clicks, Yamzo, and Higgs going to get back-to-back uncontested POIs? We'll see there shortly, but Noah plays. Clixie Chaos Gaming, 102 points. They have two big scenarios here for qualifying Monster. They either get in through that victory royale. That one's going to be hard, but still easy at the same time. Otherwise, you're playing a huge math game throughout the course of this game, watching your elimination feed, hoping those players above you go down relatively early, or at least outside of the top 17.
Yeah, that problem is there's like 60 points separating them, so they really need to get that team that was holding fifth kind of out of the equation. Otherwise, I mean, the gap is pretty significant, and it's going to require a huge end game for most of these teams. I mean, even Creon, Tony, and Noisy, although they have, mathematically better odds here, it's still quite a stretch. It's not going to be easy by any imagination.
Just trying to look at, the storm damage overall, and it's still Tony, Noisy, and Creon. Almost 1,000 more storm damage than the second place team. It just goes to show that their whole game plan of today's tournament revolves around finding some teams in storm, getting damage, and realistically, Monster, those are the isolated fights that you do have with less chance of those third parties closing in. It's Annex team on top of the peak of that mountain, just trying to use that elevation advantage for as long as possible, especially if the zone allows it and rotates those teams in their direction.
Getting a little update here from Clixie, Yamzo, Higgs. Kind of checking out their overall situation. Team spotted up north. They're going right back into the action here. Already got one of possibly the two, but no, this is actually a fresh team. This Dozier's trio.
You want to know why I know they want to fight him? That Superman Sprite in Higgs' inventory. That he's going to use that to break through some of these builds and try to get damage that much easier. Clint's already started the fight, getting that first knock on the Dozier. And you're seeing both of those remaining members of that team disperse into two different directions. One towards the resistance base, one all the way towards the north. That way, if they do get chased down, that kind of ups their chance at survival. Maybe one of them's able to get the reboot cards on back. But we'll figure out if they can even get their first teammate back here shortly.
Another standoff here on the outer edge. So Creon's team kind of gave up their position to chase even further, and now there's another team watching in the distance, getting ever so closely. Oh, he's just got to finish this fight quick. Face the wrath of a new team right now. There it is. They start to turn online here. Oh, it's Degen's team is down on the low ground right now.
Yeah, it might be Degen, Slate, and Jerry, and you're seeing them trying to separate themselves. They probably heard the footsteps, the audio visuals of that third-party team closing in, so they're just trying to move their way on out. Kind of let the other team down below take a lot of that distraction. But Tony hasn't fully gotten out just yet. He's still creeping through, gathering this information, the intel. Is it something that he wants to lurk around, maybe try to find an easy one-shot on either one of these trios?
Nice little tag right there. You see Tentic, Mono, Yinks, like not even trying to move right now. They've had a bit of a tough time today, finding themselves scoring anything here so far. Noisy, Tony, and Creon. Kind of waiting this one out, trying to see what this other team wants to do. No one's really pulling the trigger just yet. Let's catch up with Phaser, PhD, and King right now. Lone Wolf Lair kind of just on the outskirts here.
Just wondering, is that the same solo from the beginning? Chances are it is. And then, what are the odds he has both of those reboot cards in his inventory, having to wait there for as long as he had up until this point? As it does look like King Phaser gets in, rotating over towards Brutal Boxcars. That Spire is up for them to try to get not only XP, but the amount of loot that you're able to get before they continue to rotate towards the south, because that's exactly where the zone is pulling yet again.
Yeah, gotta get moving here. But they're playing the outsides. They're looking for teams so they can get some damage right on these outskirts here. Use those late movers. Dash, Bryce, and Skittles. This is that third overall positioned trio in the lobby who's played so exceptionally well today so far. Just keeping us in the running.
Yeah, they already have the island locked down. They have the medallion. They have the extra heals. And now they're setting up. It's almost similar to what we've seen in Group 1 with Aegis, Acorn, and Pollo in kind of a line formation. 2 different surge towers. They're using the island as well just to give so much elevation advantage. And they're basically at the edge of zone, knowing all teams are going to have to rotate to them. So as long as they wait, be patient, they will have those opportunities. Clicks, Higgs, and Yamzo just get torn apart. Higgs dropped down to 97 HP. Clicks knocked all together. Yamzo's just trying to be the hero. There's only so much one person can take, especially with the Superman Sprite beaming its way through those builds. That's Muzz. We saw them earlier on in a contested fight to start the tournament off.
Shadow Sphinx holding it down so far. Muzz having a reset here. Higgs and Yamzo left on a back foot. Clicks already kind of falls right now, so it seems like they rotated into the wrong team right now. Yamzo Higgs likely want nothing to do with this. They definitely have picked up the card. We talked about that, you know, Superman Sprite coming into handy, but it's almost as if Higgs is not even conditioned to use it. There it is. Now starting to think about it, but no, this is actually Muzz's trio who's, you know, clearly comfortable with utilizing it. Muzz seems to be a favorite of the lasers. Yeah, they're going to be pretty good with that. In any case, a 2v3 against Yamzo Higgs is no easy battle. You got to respect them. So off they go.
Yeah, that's kind of the mind games, because even with that elimination, you see them move up to like 105 points, kind of slowly making their way up the top of the leaderboard, but they have to essentially be close to perfect in order to get the qualification spot here through the group stages. A couple mishaps in games 1 and 2 kind of put their backs up against the wall, really forced to perform here in the last and final game of the day. Donnie, Joji, Seek, close to some historic or honestly entertaining clutches here today, but with or without those 205 points, all but got their spot secured as well. And we talk about a few of these teams, you know, Clicks' team, this team here, if they win the game, that opens up a spot at the bottom, kind of alleviating some of the stresses of some of these others.
Yeah, gots to look at the zone right here. This is the first we've seen it pull this far south. Oh, and it's going to continue to do that. Okay, so we're getting some serious elevation in this end game. This is going to be a wild one for sure. I expect not many to survive the highs and lows that are going to come here. You know, it makes you wonder, like, the more difficult terrain to play probably just favors people that have been here before, right? Those seasoned trios even more, because there's so much learnings that you take from those more difficult end games. But let's catch up with Yamzo, Higgs, and Click. So they got the reboot card like we talked about, went right back into the Outlaw Oasis, get the pickup here, kind of put them right back in the game.
That stat just made me laugh. They lead the lobby in elims, damage, builds, this, that, 12 other categories. What can they not do other than win a game? But they can prove us wrong here in the game 5, because all those stats for them is all about proving a point, making a statement here today. And I think teams have been sleeping on them the past couple days as possible FNCS champions, and that finals grows closer and closer.
Yeah, most definitely. That elusive win, you know? Gotta hit your shots in the end game.
Okay. They have that mountaintop, that peak that we saw them kind of make their way to, but one team is slowly but surely trying to sneak their way up that mountain. But it's only a duo for now. You see Mystic is separated. A little bit of distance between them and their counterpart, and he's actually going the other way up the mountain as well. I'm not sure if that trio up above is taking notice, but this might be an opportunity for them to kind of surprise attack. Only 12 points. This could be a little risky, but depending on where they're at in Storm Surge and overall loot, it might be a must.
I mean, I respect the decision to also just kind of wait this one out. Like, look at all these teams on the move right now. Monty, Scuffies, and Cole, like, kind of talk about, they have a real chance to take a qual spot right now through consistency. A player right there. And they almost get the siphon on him, but he spots him out just in the nick of time. This is what I talk about when teams like are close to qualling. I feel like they start playing different. This is like where you start slowing down. You're doing things you don't normally do, right? And all of a sudden, you might just find yourself outed. But this is a huge elimination here waiting to happen. He's got, what was it, a med kit and 3 bandages. So big heals here that they desperately need. Siphon kicks in as well. So this is all just welcome pickups here.
Kind of seeing the lobby being plagued right now, but so much activity early on. But Clix, Yamso, and Higgs, they find themselves at another elimination. Not too worried about their rotation. You see a lot of mobility in their inventory, but the bottom of that bunker, I talked about it early on, you do have that free rift that you can take. And where the zone's pulling south, they can easily take that rift, stay out of zone, just rotate all the way to the slow side of the zone. But you're seeing how they were able to get that elimination. That team thought they were trapped in there, but they were able to fight their way on out and pick up eliminations.
Yeah, this is how you do it. You know, time and time again, you see teams kind of play the bunker very passively, wait it out. But now when you got Higgs and Yamso just ready to push out, find their tags in the process. Creon, Noisy, and Tony make their way out of the zone here. They spent a lot of time in that storm. I'm just thinking back to that Cease Storm Sickness play now. Spent the first 4 or 5 zones in there and just couldn't make the distance, so Tony's team's got to be on the timer at this point.
Yeah, or at least at the bare minimum, I hope they were proactive enough to start to really change certain aspects of their game, realizing how long they're staying in towards zone, because that would in itself take away a win condition of being able to take it to heal off if they took too much damage. And since they're already rotated over towards Demon's Domain, I hope they've kind of learned as each and every single game is passed, even though they're barely above that damage threshold, at least they're here in zone. They positioned accordingly and have a chance to look out into the distance and try to target some of those teams for damage.
Yeah, Storm Sickness is basically AKA you spent half of the total game time like in the zone. Like that is just not feasible. The game just cancels you out. Clix, Higgs, Yamso on the rotate right now for Elim, so they're just right back in it like they never left here. And we talked about these mountains that, you know, they're going to start affecting this end game. And look at this move that they got to make up and over. Luckily, no teams are kind of perched over to see downwards, but it's costing them material, misformed charges, and all types of other resources now.
Taking a moment of silence right now. This is a team you do not want to be rotating next to. 227 points, well inside of the bubble, and a team that is not scared to go for high ground. We've already seen it a few times today. And if you're one of those teams that's barely in or outside of the bubble, I would steer clear from this rotation. And that's Tony, Noisy, and Creon just towards the right, rotating in tandem. And it's going to be a far rotation, and it's going to go up a few different mountains on the way there.
Got a little surf cube in hand, so you could just tell that they don't have exactly the type of loadout that they would like to take into endgame, but PhD leading the charge with that surf cube, getting the most out of it. Meanwhile, quick update for Donnie here. 205 alongside Joji and Seek. No elims this time around, but plenty of damage on the board so far. One of the furthest to rotate here once again. Seems like they kind of enjoy being in the back of the pack. It's a team in the water trying to rotate.
Something better than nothing. They just got to be careful. That's a team that kind of like landed in stealing the southern portion of Demon's Domain's loot. Everybody's still trying to figure out where they're going to make their way up the mountain. You're seeing a very kind of even elevation change for the most part. And I think for this next couple of zones, the entire lobby's got to be crossing their fingers right here. Don't go north. Don't go north, because that will be a roller coaster of emotions. As you can see, Amzo and Higgs just pick up a few more eliminations, kind of ending runs in this group stage, forcing these teams essentially to go through the LCQ.
It's perfect too. Right on the side of the mountain, they get much more materials essentially delivered to them now. So it's really the key position and time to kind of get these eliminations. This is tough for Clixie, Noah, and Chaos. They got to go up and over now. The zone's going to pull far west, and they're already halfway through their material count. And I'm not seeing any misforms on this inventory right now, at least not for Noah here. Great usage of the dash to kind of pop his way across there, keeping the momentum up. But just all in all, look at this clean rotate. Otherwise, would have been a very difficult one to kind of time there. Higgs' team's still going crazy here.
Man, Listen does go. Oh, Hayes follows. That's very, very unfortunate for them, because this is essentially their drop spot over here. Obviously, more times than not, you don't think it's going to go to Shogun Solitude, but if they would have just set up on this side of the map, they would kind of probably be positioned better off than most of the teams. As Joji, Donnie, Agers, we've seen them probably behind the pack, zone after zone. It continuously is pulling towards the west. The blessing here for most of these teams is there's not too many elevations or too many changes in this zone. But Monster, after this one, if we go west, if we go east, or even far enough north, that's where it's going to continue to get tough.
You know, it is interesting that like they can play late like that because they have misforms. You know, it kind of makes sense. Pressure comes in, we just form out, right? We get into a whole new like 50 meters across, no problem. Scuffy's Monty, Cole, tournament running the life right now. Pressures this team to the point to where they pull out the med miss there. Very nicely done. So just kind of forcing them out of that position. Look at that, pushing them off completely there. It's going to ease up all their high ground pressures. They can start looking to other teams. Meanwhile, Creon gets taken. Noisy now by himself. Oh, doesn't see where Joji's at. Their tournament's going to go in and come to an end. That's a big elimination for Donnie's team there.
They're literally stuck, hoping and praying. Everybody below them on the leaderboard goes down, and then everybody above them, any team above them for that matter, somehow wins, because that'll free up the spot on the leaderboard. Dash, Bryce, Skittles, that's one of those teams that we are talking about, starting this one essentially in 4th place when it comes to that consistency leaderboard. 8th place overall. They just need to do enough to hold on, but it's only the top 16. Only one team of placement points have set in, and now Scuffy's, Monty, and Cole. This team is 5th on the consistency leaderboard, so essentially they are setting the line that teams need to follow.
No, what's so nice about that wide shot, it just gave you a true visual on like how the best teams are elevated up and over the most treacherous areas. And you know, look at that, they just know to be away from that low ground congestion. You just don't want to be down there when the rotate starts to come through. Somehow though, at the front side of the rotate, Shadow, Muzz, and Sphinx have managed to find themselves still standing in this game, kind of recovered from the fallings before clashing with Team Clix. High ground's got Rogue, Zip, and Polis right now situated up. Big commitments here through material counts as they start to kind of de-escalate their way through this zone here. But this is the Canyon Crossing. It's called that for a reason. They are way up top there.
It's just a struggle, and kind of like you said it yourself, investing so many materials. It's only the 8th zone. We haven't had too many drastic cutbacks just yet. 206 and counting, over 1,000 damage for Dash, Bryce, and Skittles. Just continue to focus every team. Those audio visuals, if they see a footstep in that direction, they just kind of let it loose. But you can see Skittles, only 83 medium ammo bullets left, and they finally target out the high ground. Polis, Rogue, and Zip, they get shot down, but luckily for them, they do have the misform, so no fall damage for them. You see Higgs kind of double stepping, hesitating for a moment. Is this the time? Do we take high ground, or is that zone too early?
Well, Zip's gonna go ahead and bounce back here, so seems like they get a little bit more time to kind of recycle these materials here. That's actually perfect for them. Can't really ask for anything better than that, and that's going to force the low ground teams to force their material counts to start being used here. Meanwhile, Skittles is going to have to fend for himself here. Loses Bryce and Dash right now. The finishes come through from the other team on the other side of the wall. That is unfortunate. timing for him, but hey, little delivery for him there. He's trying to get that med miss. Needs to get the misform as well. And the pressure starting to come through. But look at this. Clicks, Pigs, Yamza now positioned up over some other teams here. Looking for their next refresher. There it is. Nice pickup. Insta misform as well.
Ooh, almost overhops that one, but only drops down, gets the loot. You see immediately dropping down those builds for Yamzo as Donnie, Seek, they're kind of stuck as a duo. He reached the other side of the zone, but as soon as he does, it forces a cutback on the other side. One more mischarge that he's going to have to use, but Seek separated from his team. They're essentially playing this one as two separate solos, waiting for that moment. They can't reunite box to box, but Yamzo and Higgs, that's Muzz, that's Shadow on the other side. They do not have any spots secured. They have to go ahead and get some more points. Top 14, barely any placement so far in this game.
Look at that. Higgs, Yamzo, Clicks land on another team looking to Memphis at the front side. And it's PH, Zen, Phaser, King, Monty's team in there as well. Let's not forget Monty and them needed just a couple more points. Well, they're going to have to clutch this one out. Here, Skittles, Bryce Dash now 215 points. So it's all about consistency for these guys down at the bottom here. They need these points. They need to maintain just enough consistency here. And who's gonna win? Still got King playing the backside of zone. If Crash Trio doesn't pay attention, they'll be straight ambush from behind.
Even Cole was able to find a couple more eliminations. Cause just there on the other side. You're seeing Skittles hesitate for good reason. Zone's cutting on over. He doesn't want to end up in a fight at the backside of the zone overall. Zip still on ultimate high ground. He is in the clouds waiting for his team to give him the A-OK. Skittles going up, sees how far away high ground actually is, and with no builds to get up there. At the last misform charge used, it's almost all or nothing here for Skittles as he's bouncing around. He still does have that medallion, shouting a little bit of his location.
Yeah, but it's just trying to stay, you know, out of sight, out of mind, basically, as he hops around here. And that is the game plan at the moment. Just keep moving, no builds. Finds himself a little position. No, it's Cole's trio. There it is. So I was wondering how many of them were still alive. There's still two left on that team trying to clutch this one out. Muzz just crushed from the side there by the hands of Higgs now. Shadow goes and picks him up. Higgs tries to play a side angle, breaks into the ball, dashes behind, just past Clicks, and Yamzo cleans things up there. Meanwhile, Donnie and Seek listening to it all go down. Yamzo finally falls now. It was just a matter of time there. And look at the siphon start to add up here. This is a super intense endgame right now. Surely they've gotten enough points. It's going to come down to the win, though, for these other teams that want to go straight to finals. This is all or nothing for Polis.
Yeah, it potentially is. The other two's got their spot secured just for staying alive long enough. Scuffies and them starting this game on the line. You got to think a third place, if they get it, is going to be good enough. So we're essentially watching Zip.
No.
We're essentially watching Rogue. Their tournament is on the line. And Donnie from up above, he spoils it all. He takes them down. He advances to the grand finals. But again, Monster, they might have just been gifted. Somebody might have been served a grand final spot on a silver platter because they were already in the top 5.
Donnie does it again. He most definitely has manipulated fate. They had a lot of points. They were qualified to finals, whether they won that game or not. The fact that they win means they open up a position, but they pull that other spot away from Polis's trio, whom, by the way, surely did not have enough. Jacob, you couldn't have wrote a better end game for someone here who's gonna get the 5th overall most consistent spot.
Normally, I say I'm good at math, Monster. Normally, I say I'm probably one of the best. I carry the 1, I multiply the 2, but this one was so close, and it got even closer by the fact that they won, which opened up a spot at the bottom. Donnie went up, he went over, just spoiled and squandered any chance that Zip had to continue that high ground and run away for the heel off end. But congratulations, Seek, Joji, and Donnie yet again. Honestly, Monster, at this point, with how well they've been playing, I'm not sure it would have been a finals without him.
Yeah, listen, we need to see this team up there. They played very well, and it just shows you that competitors are gonna compete. They want that win whether they know they're taking it or not. What a fun game from us and them there. Well, listen, Group 2's wraps from Monster, Jacob here. We're calling it. We're gonna shoot it on over to Zeke. Bring us on home.
Thank you so much, MDF and Jacob. Great games today, and the next time we'll be seeing them is tomorrow for group number 3 as well. Donnie, Joji, Seek get themselves the victory royale. We saw Donnie come close a couple times, right? They kind of had those top 5 moments time and time again, but finally they lock up the victory royale. They go ahead and say, Zeke, we'll be seeing you in the grand finals.
Yeah, to get 2 second places during the group stages. You know, I know everyone says that the group stages aren't like real set lobbies, but that's still pretty impressive. And then to round things off with a victory royale, that's what I love to see. Big shout outs, of course, to this trio right here. And honestly, Donnie, Joji, Seek, like we said earlier, that this is a trio, all of them individually, we have heard these names time and time again. And this might finally be the trio where we see them kind of climb up the leaderboard and break into our top 10, top 5. And obviously that's where they want to be, Vivid, because that's where the global championships tickets are.
Yeah, I mean, obviously today is all about, you know, the victory royales, and then we got the consistency leaderboard. Of course, you're going to find yourself on that consistency leaderboard if you are finding consistent. And what's more consistent than feeling like it's like deja vu? Every single one of these end games has Donnie alive trying to clutch it up in some sort of 1v2, 1v3, 1v something. It just felt like it was on repeat today. And what better way to kind of end the day out with him finally kind of making it happen right there. And yeah, like Jacob mentioned right there, somebody might have been gifted a grand finals appearance on a silver platter, depending on how that leaderboard shakes up.
We'll get there in a second. First, let's relive those victory royales, right? Who got them on the day? As we remind ourselves, here's a nice little graphic. Maybe you're tuning in, maybe you just got off work or something, you just watching, you stopping by. Here's a little recap for you guys. In that last game, obviously we saw Seek, Joji, Donnie get themselves the victory royale, but it started with visuals, braids, and a minish, getting that VR in game number 1. And of course, guys, I can't forget game number 2, when my power went out. Don't worry about it. But there's also that next question then, friends. Who made it in? Of course, we have 5 trios who made it in through consistency, which just means after those 5 yars, whoever you end up in the top 5 will also go through to the grand finals. We have a list to take a look at here. Now this won't tell the full story because this is just going to show us the top 5 teams that did make it in. The story continues when we look at the standings, but first, obviously, Clix, Higgs, and Yamzo. Wow, Kelly, 100 points ahead of Phaser, King, and of course PH Zin. Really had a showing today. I guess my question is, can we continue this, right? Can we bring this kind of ferocity into the grand finals where things are going to be pretty different?
100%. Yamzo, Higgs, and Clix have proved themselves time and time again through set lobbies, through scrims, that they can easily bring this kind of action into the grand finals. And honestly, you look at like their scores, it's not just making it top 10 in every single one of the games that we saw today, but also their ability to grab 14, 10, 16 eliminations. You know, I feel like we saw a little bit of this from Acorn, Agers, and Poyo in week 1. And, you know, I don't hate replays. I'm a big fan of having, you know, these repetitive play styles like what we see from Clix, Higgs, and Yamzo. But are they going to be able to, now with this domination, carry that into the grand finals?
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't think they're going to have any trouble kind of doing that. I mean, they look like they're just playing so well right now. Obviously, we've seen them play in finals throughout the year. Every single time they look very, very good. They've been placing super well. The only thing that's really left for them to do this year is to actually win it. So it's exciting to see them perform very, very well today. And of course, clutch up, get that grand finals qualification. Nobody really had a doubt.
That's right. That's right. Also, of course, King, PH, Zin. We'd love to see them kind of come out and in that top 5, right? Phaser alongside all of them. Just a fantastic showing from them. Let's bring up those standing, though. So I did hint at a story here. So obviously that 10th place is essentially the top 5. We know that cutoff is 163 points. If we flip on over to that second page, 2 things to shock. First off, 11th place, Noah W plays, bro. What the heck? Let's go. Only 2 points off of qualification. And it's crazy that we didn't see like a lot of Noah making like a lot of big kind of flashy plays, but the consistency really shone through in their performance, almost making it out. But that's okay. Run's not done. We still have LCQ. Muzz, Shadow, and Sphinx, though, in that 12th place, unfortunately did not make it in. We did see they only had the 4 of 5 games played. You know, had they gotten that additional game in, I think things could have been different for sure. But of course, for them, it's same story, right? They still have the last chance qualifier. It's not over. This is Muzz we're talking about, right? If we have to take it to an LCQ, I feel confident enough to say they'll likely earn themselves a spot, right? I mean, this is Muzz. I mean, this is Muzz.
Yeah, I don't want to be biased, but there was a moment there where Clix's trio jumped in on Muzz and his duo mate, and I was like, no, please. But you know, again, I can't be biased on the broadcast. That wouldn't be right. I think last chance qualifier is just rough, man. And it's Muzz. It's, you know, you think that they would automatically get it in, but Vivid, you just don't know with the LCQ.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to clutch up for that. But I tell you what, you know, Jacob's kind of wish came true right there. We saw Scare Cause and Magma in 10th place. Now, if Donnie did not end up winning that game and the win did go to Zip, who was sitting in 15th place, then that qualification spot would not have rolled down to them. So sure enough, one team did qualify because that did end up happening. So pretty cool to see them kind of clutch up and make it into that 10th place spot as well and clutch that grand finals qualification.
Oh man, we are so close, right? Next weekend, it is going to be so much fun. But of course, I think that's pretty much it for today. We only have tomorrow to come back to watch group number 3 for not only us, but EU as well. And then we're going to have a really good picture of grand finals next weekend. And then next weekend, we will know who is going to be rounding out our trios going to the global championship. Time is flying. Yeah, guys, before we say goodbye, why don't we guys have closing thoughts from you two?
I am so excited for tomorrow. I am so excited to see what happens. Group 1 and Group 2 have not disappointed yet. And I know that Group 3, some people might be saying maybe it's one of the more sleeper of the groups for North American Central. But for me personally, I think it's going to be one of the more fun ones.
Yeah, I mean, a sleeper with Peter Bonanna, we can never count him out. He will always put on a show and entertain us for sure. But I'm most excited for next weekend, honestly, grand finals after groups 1 and group 2. I'm excited to get all of these teams in the same lobby and see how all those play styles kind of clash. Who's going to be going for higher ground then? Who's going to be claiming the lower ground? It's going to be exciting.
And of course, like you said, Vivid, when we're in grand finals, you know, you're not only making a statement to your region, you're making a statement to the others, right? Hey, this is my POI. If you want to fight, let's go, you know? So we'll see. That's it from us today, though, at least until tomorrow. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow, group 3, same time, same great place. Make sure you're here, mark your calendars, set your timers, all that stuff. And of course, EU is before us. If you like what you're seeing, watch them as well. They got their own crew, they got their own trios to play for. But until tomorrow, we love you. Keep yourself safe. See you on that battle bus.